A woman who has been diagnosed with breast cancer has a lot of questions, and they don't stop with why me? Next comes, how will I share my diagnosis? Who will I share it with? What will I say? Or should I tell anyone at all? For many women, these questions become a real big decision after diagnosis. And more often, their biggest concern in all this is, how do I tell people in a way that they don't get weird with me right away or isolate me? If you're in these shoes right now, then look at the people you do have around you and ask yourself, if I had a secret that was powerful, who would I tell? If I were really afraid of something, who would I go to with that fear and why? By taking the time to answer these two simple questions honestly, you won't make the mistake of telling someone who will broadcast it to everyone they know, nor will you be left with no one to talk to because you can't decide who to trust and share your bad news with. This sort of questioning will also remind you of other things you already know about the resources around you, but you just might be too anxious to remember them right now. That's okay. I want to talk a little bit about practicing discernment early on in your diagnosis because this is important. It'll prevent conversations from being preset about you. And remember, bad news travels fast. In other words, so that what people start saying about you early on doesn't become the set conversation they're going to continue to have about you. Because once people have a certain notion in their heads, they often find it difficult to notice you're dancing a different tune the next day. So look very selectively at who you're going to tell your news to. By choosing someone who's already been supportive of you, ask yourself, who do you already know who you can trust unconditionally to be there for you? Then the next step is deciding how to tell whoever you decided to tell, because that will differ from person to person too. To make it easy to figure this out, ask yourself, what's my purpose in telling? And what do I really want from this person? Because those conversations, they're going to differ too, depending on who that person is to you and what you're really asking of him or her, either consciously or subconsciously. And you must also know before going out there that what you might expect of someone might not be what you get. And this is often a big surprise to some women because your news may be so threatening to someone that they might distance themselves from you. And likely it's their own fear getting in the way. Or they may be so shocked that they're absolutely at a loss as to what to say to you or do for you. And so they might just say something totally inappropriate or even hurtful, and you're going to just be taken back. And then other times people might not recognize that there's just some times when nothing needs to be said. A hug, a touch. And should your friends not be able to handle it, simply forgive them and focus on knowing that new friends will come into your life and take their place and support you. And this is another thing that women are just so totally surprised at, how people whom they least expected seem to come out of the woodwork and help. And maybe it is simply because they are removed and they don't have that history with you like your close friends. Just be wise enough to let those people in and support you. This will make all the difference in the world to you as you're going through your cancer experience. You see, few of us have mastered smart or effective ways of telling our problems to people or asking for, much less receiving assistance. It's a difficult dance on both sides for a lot of people. Just recognize that and use this information to make it easier. Just do it for both your sake.